Being extremely superstitious is a character trait that many baseball fans possess, regardless of the team you root for. When a franchise has a long drought or a star player seems to fall off out of nowhere, some fans chalk it up as part of the game or just plain bad luck. But for others, that team or player might be subject to a curse. One of the more popular examples of this in sports in recent years is the NFL's Madden curse, where a player featured on the cover of the EA Sports video game either got injured, announced an unexpected retirement, or started playing terribly shortly after being featured by the game. There's been numerous articles that support this, and it became so popular amongst fans that in 2017 it was even mocked by NFL legend Tom Brady in this video.
Now, I've heard there are some of you out there who might be worried about something called the Madden curse. There's no such things as curses. It's a total myth, okay? All good. No curse. All good.
Another well-known example is the Drake curse, where any team or player that the Canadian rapper roots for seems to suffer a massive downfall. Victims include college stud Johnny Manziel, who is now known as one of the biggest busts in NFL history, Alabama football, who lost 44-16 in the national championship weeks after Drake wore an Alabama hoodie to the gym, Anthony Joshua, a fighter who mocked the curse on Twitter, then got TKO'd less than 2 weeks later, and plenty of others. But it seems like Major League Baseball has a new curse on their hands, the Dairy Queen curse. It was announced in April 2022 that MLB and a popular fast food chain known as Dairy Queen were now partnering. This new sponsorship agreement included 4 players to help market the company: Padres superstar Fernando Tatis Jr., former MVP from the Dodgers Cody Bellinger, last year's MVP from the Phillies Bryce Harper, and former batting champion from the White Sox Tim Anderson. These choices made a lot of sense. All 4 of these guys are pretty well known, they've had success in the league, and they represented 3 different regions of the United States. But little did we know at the time that these 4 players would be cursed for the 2022 MLB season. Before I get into it, welcome to the War Room, a channel where I discuss all things baseball. Subscribe if you're new, and let's get straight to it. Let's start with the one that requires the least amount of explanation, Fernando Tatis Jr. About 1 month before this sponsorship was announced, Tatis broke his wrist in a motorcycle accident, even though the curse hadn't officially begun yet. After rehabbing for months and being very close to returning, we found out a few days ago in shocking news that he will be suspended for the next 80 games due to the use of performance-enhancing drugs. This news was absolutely stunning, sending the baseball world into a frenzy. No pun intended. Well, I guess technically it's a blizzard, so never mind. But that's one of 4 players you can't even deny is a victim. Let's move on to the 2021 NL MVP Bryce Harper. He was having a great year earlier this season, and it looked like he had a very good shot at winning his 2nd consecutive MVP award. In the first 64 games of this season, he batted .318 and was on pace for about 38 home runs and what would have been a career-high 122 RBIs. Last year, when he won MVP, he batted .309 with 35 homers and 84 RBIs. So to say that he could have went back-to-back isn't a crazy take at all. So what happened? He got hit by a pitch from Blake Snell on June 25th, which broke his left thumb and caused any MVP speculation to be put to rest immediately. He hasn't played in a game since that hit by pitch. Though he is very close to coming back, that pitch from Snell might have cost Harper the chance to be the first back-to-back NL MVP winner in over a decade. So 2 down, 2 to go. Next is Tim Anderson, a guy who has always hit for average and very good at doing so, winning the batting title in 2019. Another guy putting together a respectable season. He was also an all-star this year, currently batting .301, which would be top 10 in the league. He suffered an injury from May 30th to June 20th, announced as a right groin strain. And after he was involved in some off-the-field issues at this exact time, fans certainly didn't miss the opportunity to make the joke that presented itself. But just last week, during a check swing in a game versus the Texas Rangers, he tore a ligament in his left finger, and he will be out at least 4 to 6 weeks. This means one of Chicago's best players won't be with them as they're on the brink of making the postseason. So that's 3 players that are cursed, with only one left, being Cody Bellinger. Bellinger was a big name ever since he made his debut in 2017, where he was an all-star and took home the Rookie of the Year. 2 years later, at age 23, he hit 47 home runs and had 115 RBIs, with a .305 batting average and an OPS over 1. This made Bellinger the youngest MVP in Dodgers history. So how is he this season? Well, statistically, he's currently one of the worst players in the Dodgers lineup. I can't say this is the worst season of his career because he's better than last year, but he still kinda sucks. His batting average sits at an awful .210, and he's often put near the bottom of the Dodgers lineup. He's maybe the one guy out of the four you might be able to argue isn't affected by the Dairy Queen curse, but it's pretty much because he was so bad last year that in comparison, this year he couldn't be much worse. So you guys can make that call for yourself. This will make it very interesting next season if they decide to add new players to this deal with Dairy Queen. While the curse isn't very well known now, maybe by this time next year people will realize. Or maybe this is all just a coincidence and this video was a massive waste of time. Who knows? But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Is this curse real? Like the video if you enjoyed and drop a sub if you're new. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.